Hello, everybody. Today, I'm going to be talking about delighting your customers through a seamless multi-channel customer support experience across digital channels. I'm going to very quickly explain what we're going to be doing today here. So I'm going to be talking about Zoho Desk. This is a fairly introductory look at Desk. So it starts off with a little bit of theory about customer support and why it's important and the right way to do it. And then it moves into Desk. Hopefully that's right for you, but I just want to lay the groundwork up front that it doesn't get super into the nitty-gritty of assignment rules. I'll talk a little bit about that. But it's not in the high technical level of Desk that you might be looking for if you're a heavy user. But it is a pretty good overview overall, and I think there is a good value in it. So why multi-channel? Do we know what multi-channel means? So let me explain what multi-channel is for those that don't know. The idea, it's a pretty straightforward idea, and I think it's something that we all internalize to a significant degree simply as customers that live our lives and encounter businesses and need support at times. When you want to contact a business, you want that to be as easy as possible, and not easy on the business's terms alone, but on your terms as a customer, because you've already run into a problem, right? Perhaps you like chatting businesses, perhaps you like emailing, maybe you like calling, maybe you like submitting tickets. Whatever the way you prefer to do it, a business should be able to handle that. So multi-channel is having all of these different channels open and available. Chat, forums, telephone, social media. Your customer should have all those options, and you should be able to handle all those things. And that's really at the crux of what Desk is trying to do, because Desk's whole philosophy in its building is trying to make customer support as easy as possible for both the customer and the agent, because if it's easy for the agent, they're probably going to be nicer to the customer. If it's easier for the customer, they're probably going to be nicer to the agent. The whole thing is going to be a lot smoother. It's also built on this idea of contextual awareness. Contextual awareness here is very important. Knowing who's calling, knowing why they're calling, and not letting that information be siloed and dropped away from person to person, or even from department to department. 73% of customers say valuing their time is their most important part of customer service. Is this a surprise? I mean, based off what we know? Not really at all, right? If you have a problem, the quicker you can solve it, the more efficiently you can solve it, the happier you're going to be. We all inherently know this just by having lives that are in a consumer world where we have to run into customer support. This is innate stuff. And in fact, this is just a graph showing you the exact thing I just told you, but to lay it out for you, customer satisfaction goes up as the net FCR rate increases. Do we know what an FCR rate is? First contact resolution, right. So that means the fewer times I have to talk to you, the happier I am. In the case of email, this is usually like 2 email exchanges. It's just saying that I don't want to have to be on the phone with you a bunch. I don't want to have to call you a bunch. I don't want to have to chat you a bunch. The quicker the problem's solved, the happier I am as a customer. Self-service is another big part of Zoho Desk. Have people here been to Japan before? Very big with the vending machines. When I was in Japan, I spent my mornings going to a vending machine and buying a warm can of corned drink, a corn-style drink that I would open up. It was fantastic. I didn't have to go into like a store or anything. It was great. I would just go up, I would buy the corn, I would move on and do, whatever I'm doing in Japan. It was pretty nice. The same thing goes for customer support, right? What's better than first contact resolution? No contact resolution. I don't want to talk to you. I've had a problem. I'm not trying to call your business now. I'm not trying to chat your business. If I can solve the problem on my own and you make it easy on me, I'm going to prefer that. And this is increasingly the way of customer support. People because we're subscribed to so many services now. We have so many different things going on in our lives. If we can just find the solution on our own really quickly without having to call people, identify ourselves, talk to the robot, get hung up on, get a call dropped, wherever the case is, we're going to prefer that. And this is a big, big, big part of customer support, and it's only growing. The right tools to improve. So a pretty straightforward idea. If your customer support is not improving, then what is the purpose of it, right? It's the same thing with your sales or your finance processes. These are things you want to improve, that you want to work on, that you want to get better over time, because that's kind of the whole point of reporting and analytics, right? So giving you the right tools to improve and surfacing that information for you is a big part of what Desk is trying to do, as well as minimizing friction. Do we know what friction is? Not, the physical concept of friction, but friction within the customer support world. Are we familiar with this at all? No? So it is essentially the idea that I'm calling you, call drops, a little bit of friction. I'm calling you, I'm now talking to a robot that doesn't understand me, a little bit of friction. I'm calling you, the robot has transferred me to the wrong person, they're now transferring more friction. It's these moments of hindrance. It's the things that slow down that first contact resolution. In fact, it's having a problem in the first place that is friction. I'm calling you because I had friction with your service, with your product, with whatever. So minimizing that and knowing that I'm calling you because I've had an inherent moment of friction with your product or service and you don't want to increase that is a big part of this. And contextual awareness, the right tools to improve, and self-service are all ways to minimize that friction that Desk supplies. So as you're thinking about what does customer service mean for my business, think about these things, try and internalize them, and make a plan based on what I'm showing you here today. So I'm going to actually be in 3 different roles today, right, to more fully display to you just how Zoho Desk works. I'm going to be the customer, then I'm going to be the support agent, and then shortly at the end, I'm going to take the role of a manager here. So I'll tell you when I'm switching between them, and I hope to make this a pretty seamless, pretty smooth ride for all of you. Also keep in mind, when people talk about escalation, it's just exactly this. I don't want to have to escalate from an agent to a manager, but people don't often think of it this way, but the same rule applies. I don't want to have to escalate from being a customer to speaking to an agent. We don't want to escalate from agent to manager. The same thing applies at this level though, right? I don't really want to have to escalate from customer to agent, which means, doesn't just mean like, oh, well, I have to make my service or product completely perfect. No, it means that's where self-service comes in, right? If I can handle things down here on my own, that's pretty good. That's a type of escalation, even though you don't typically mark it in your system as that. So just keep that in mind. I want to move into the demo now. Are we familiar with out-of-line design? Some of you may have seen us give demos around this idea before. Essentially, this is a fake company that we made to display how a bunch of Zoho apps all work together, and you're currently looking at their website. They do poster design, shirt design, web design. They do all sorts of artsy and technical stuff for businesses that contact them. So I am an out-of-line, right, I'm the customer now. I'm a customer of out-of-line. I've had a problem with their service that they've offered me, their nondescript service currently. Where might I go to fix this? I go to chat, I go wherever, but the main thing is I'm going to hit their website first. This is pretty modern. This is a modern way of doing things. You just Google the company, especially if you found them through their website. They're probably going to want to, however they found you is probably how they're going to want to contact you again, whether it's over the phone, chat, whatever, or they just find your website. So I'm on their website, and Out-of-Line is a modern, smart, sophisticated company, like I'm sure all of yours are. And they know that when someone comes to our website, they're either there to learn, they're there to look at our services, or they're there to get help. So they don't hide the help. A lot of times I end up going to like a business website, and I'm looking for their support and all that, and I usually have to roll down to the bottom, and there's some contact us down here. But Out-of-Line has made it a pretty key part of what they're doing because they want to make things as easy as possible for people. So you see this tab up here at the top that says support. I can hit the customer support button here. And it's going to take me to this fairly sparse looking customer portal. So this is how it looks out of box. You can customize this. This is being hosted by Zoho Desk. So I was on a Zoho Sites website, Out-of-Line, their website. I hit the tab that linked me over to this customer portal, which is being hosted by Zoho Desk. Right, minimizing friction, making things seamless. Like I said, this is pretty sparse. This is how it looks out of the box. And you can customize how this looks. I've seen versions that look totally different. You can't even recognize it as this necessarily anymore. You can rebrand it. You can do whatever you want with it. And again, we're putting forward the idea of multi-channel. Desk can handle a bunch of different channels of communication. We've put that up front on our self-service portal. So I can call, I can email. We have a chat right here. No one's online right now because it's a fake business. But I could chat if I wanted to, and it would send a message, and that would create a ticket right here. Or I could look at the community. This is where people are going to be hanging out, posting, saying, oh, this business is great. We love it. And the business will come in and say, good. And people will come in and say, this business is bad. I'm mad. And then people can contact, follow up. You can have frequently asked questions here. But that's usually held in this area, the knowledge base. So this is a really useful place to offload. This is where the self-service really starts to, the rubber of self-service meets the road of support. So the knowledge base. This is where you write articles. This is where you write frequently asked questions. This is where you put all that stuff so that people that are looking for answers don't have to call you or chat you, and you can edit that, customize it. And then you have the My Tickets and Add a Ticket section. So as you can see, I could sign in up here. So you can hide this behind a login if you don't want anyone but customers to have access to this. You can do that if you want. But Out of Line has kept it open for self-service purposes and just because it's a little easier to demo here. So I am a customer and I've come to their support portal. I don't want to look in the knowledge base. I just want to write them a ticket and then move on with my day and not have to think about it until I check my inbox later on. So I'm going to say my contact name. I am Vince Staples, and this is me typing live on stage, which always goes well. All right, looks good. And I'm going to say I bought shirts from them. Got the shirts there. Oh, look what's happening over here. So as I type, it's actually reading the words I'm typing here, and it's suggesting articles that I've written and put in my knowledge base here. So now I can go in here and I can say I got a large, and it's big. God, I can't type live. Okay, we're just going to leave it there. All right, so I am Vince Staples, and this is my ticket. I'm saying, hey, what did I even say? I got a large, and it's a big, and I'm small. All right, cool. Very good. So I want to submit that. I don't want to deal with the knowledge base. I don't want to be doing anything. I just want to submit this and then have them contact me and handle things. I'm going to classify this as a problem. This is useful for once you're in Desk. You can sort things between problems, questions, features, others. You can modify this whole ticket submitting process, so you don't have to have all these fields here. You can also modify these as well. So if you want different classifications, for example, Out of Line is a company that does like shirt design and web design. So I might change things from I might have some problems that say this is a print problem, this is a web design problem. And you can then sort tickets that way once you're actually in Desk looking at things. So I could then attach a file here. In this case, if I received a shirt and it was torn, I could take a photo of that, upload it. However, that is not my problem today, but we have this attachment uploader, and that'll attach directly to the ticket in Desk. And I want to hit Submit. So this ticket has been created. You can customize that little message, but for now, we're done. We're moving on. We're happy with what we have here. And my job as the customer is done. I've submitted a ticket, and I'm not going to worry about it for now. So now, if I go and I open Zoho Desk, so now I am in Zoho Desk. To give you a little lay of the land before we get into it, these are the different modules up here. Currently, I'm in the tickets module. I'm about to leave this module, but I'll be back. If we go to the right, so KB, the knowledge base. These are the 5 articles we've written in the knowledge base, and we have 2 separate sections, general and billing. You can build these things out, but for us, we just have these 5. And you can see we track these metrics on them as well. So 47 views here, 72, 49, 83, and you can up and down vote them. So this can be really useful for your business in a number of ways. You can see if something is getting a lot of traction, for example, what kind of graphics can I have custom printed on shirts? You're seeing a lot of people are going to your support portal to figure that out. That should probably be something that's a little more clear on your website. Maybe you could generate content about that and put it on your website. Run some kind of social media campaign about these things. So you can see how if you're having a lot of questions and people are searching for these answers in your knowledge base, maybe this is something you want to make a little bit more apparent elsewhere in your website, your social media, in whatever the case is, right? Any advertising you're doing, it's up to you. But having those metrics in order to design and further build out business processes are important. And those little touches are kind of cool, I think. So customers, this is a list of all of our customers here. And we can click on them and see what tickets they have. Andreas, see, has no tickets here. But we can look at our lifetime support experience with these people. Reports I'll get into later. Activities, I have 1 activity scheduled here. Let's talk about the best way to handle this ticket is the title of it. It's assigned to Bessie and me, the user of this account, David Ingus. And it's actually assigned to a Vince Staples ticket. So now we see that this customer that I am today has had a history with this business. They've been working with them a little bit, and we currently have a phone call, as you can see from this, scheduled for a certain time, and it's high priority, right? So I could click into this and edit it, but you can schedule all sorts of different activities here. For today, I only have this one. We also have social. So this is part of it being multi-channel, right? We're doing phone, we're doing chat, we're doing email, we're doing tickets, and this tab will pull in all your social media. So as much as we can, as much as the APAs allow Zoho to pull in, which means your Facebook feed, your Facebook private messages, your Twitter feed, and your Twitter direct messages. So anything that anyone tweets at you, or you can even tag certain words to be instantly trigger the ticket creation process. So if someone tweets at you, you can tag curse words, whatever it is, please help, whatever it is, please someone, cancel service, whatever it is. It can pull all of those in because it's reading your feed and automatically create them as tickets so that you don't have to have someone sitting here looking over every single tweet. If you see a trend, you can then design desks to pull those in automatically for you. So we have a bunch of stuff here. But I want to move over to the ticketing module. So this is the ticketing module. This should look familiar to you, the layout, if you've used essentially any software before, email, leads, whatever. It's just laying out information top to bottom. Each of these is a ticket, and on the left over here are different ways to filter the screen. And this is useful, this is cool. You can see who it's assigned to. You can see the status of the ticket as open versus closed. But there are better ways to sort this, especially because Zoho has access to, if you're using sales, if you're using finance, has access to sales information about customers, has access to finance information, right? There are ways we can filter this to be more actionable, be more useful for you on the day-to-day. And to that end, we have these different modes up here. So these are the different Kanban modes. The status mode will take these same tickets, and now it will sort them by status. And again, statuses are things that you can totally customize. In this account, we have the standard defaults, which is open and escalated. You can see we have one escalated ticket. So as an agent, I might come in here and say, okay, today I'm only handling escalated tickets. Or as a manager, you might say, I want to see whatever tickets have been escalated and go and personally handle those. We have the countdown mode. Again, all the same tickets you saw before, now just sorted differently. Each ticket has a due date that you can modify or set so that only certain agents can modify it. We can see those that are overdue, those that are due in 6 hours, no due date. So maybe I want to go in and actually assign due dates to these. We can see priority mode. Each ticket has a priority. You can customize those as well, low, medium, high, no priority. And then lastly, probably the coolest one, if you're really kind of utilizing the different apps that Zoho offers, is the handshake mode. So this now takes all those tickets and runs them against your CRM database to see, okay, these are tickets from our customers. These are people that we already have a working relationship with. What does that mean? It means we have a closed won deal with these people, right? We, assuming you actually collected their payment, have money from these people. They are customers. Customers are way more likely to buy from you, again, than a random stranger. If someone just walks in your store and they don't know you, they're way less likely to buy from you than someone that walks in your store and has bought from you before. Walks in your store, your website, whatever the case is. So we might want to use this to prioritize how we want to spend our day. We'd probably want to help the customers before we help potentials. Potentials are people that have deals with us, but they aren't won deals. So these people are important because we have an ongoing relationship with them. We're talking to them. Our sales team's following up with them. But they're not quite as important as customers, and it kind of continues to descend that way. Contacts, leads, these are people that are in our CRM. So we potentially have a relationship with them. They're reaching out. And then we have just the news. These are people that you don't know that somehow have come in contact with you and a ticket has been made for them. Some of them, are just speaking different languages to you. Some of them are just rolling around on your website, filling out forms, right? You know that these people probably are not as high priority as everyone else. However, when we look at the customers here, we know certain things. It goes without saying that someone that spends like $10,000 with your business, you're probably going to treat them a little bit differently than someone that spends $10, right? This is a more valuable customer. Their business is designed around this idea. So even though we have customers here, it would probably help if we jumped into this and actually saw, what makes these people customers. So when I click into a ticket here, let me zoom out. This is the row of customer tickets. So that's the same little Kanban view we just saw, just only it's isolating the customers. Each of these is its separate ticket. Right here is information about the person that wrote to us, Paul in this case. And then this here is their ticket. So if I look over here, they're kind of small, so I'm going to zoom in. Paul has this little CRM and this books icon under his name. These are super important. This is how it's determining this person is a customer. If I click on this CRM icon, we can see information about them, and we can get all sorts of cool stuff. So we can see like potentials. Paul's big and tall. $1,000, closed one. This is the deal we closed with this person. It's pulling this from your sales database. And this is really like the crux of this stuff, right? Increasingly, the whole idea is the single vendor solution just doesn't make sense. It's something that has been developed over time because it made sense for software developers. But from the business perspective, it doesn't make sense to have one app for your sales, one app, you may have a bunch for your sales, one app for your analytics, one for your support, one for books, and they're all made by different people that have no business relationship. Integrating them is a mess. The more you integrate them, the more messy it gets, right? This is the sort of stuff that we're trying to push forward because we recognize that this is the future. I mean, you see other companies start to really slowly get on board, and they're starting to slowly realize this. But I can honestly say, like, I'm not a salesperson, but this is kind of cool, and this is where Zoho really is ahead of the game in realizing and developing in this way. We can also, if we go back, click on books, so we can see any open invoices and estimates we have. We don't have any with Paul currently. And I go to priority mode. Let's see. Oh, look at this. So here's the ticket I just submitted. You'll notice that it's already been given a high priority. How did this happen? If I click on it, you actually see a bunch of information too that I didn't enter when I put in that ticket information. This is because it's pulling all this from CRM, and I can look at my CRM information with Vince Staples here, look at any closed deals, any potentials I have with them, no current potentials, notes. So some very useful notes. Not ready for a deal now, but opportunity in a couple months. These are notes that are written in CRM that Desk is pulling. So in this case, we know that, all right, as a salesperson, when I call this person, be like, hey, Big Vinny, what's going on, you know? Instead of Vince Staples, he might not like that. He prefers Big Vinny. Do as he pleases. He's a cool customer. We want to be nice to him. However, we also see that he's not ready for a deal now, but opportunity in a couple months. As a salesperson, this is useful to know how I should interact with him, but also as a support person. This means that in a couple months, he'll be ready for a deal, so his support currently is very important. We actually really need to be working with this person and working closely with them because they might cancel that deal if the support's bad. I make t-shirts for the company and for Zoho, and I've had experiences where I'm working with the company, and though I like their product, when something goes wrong, I can't get any help, that's a bunch of money down the drain, I'm way less inclined to actually continue working with that company naturally, right? So this is stuff that you should be thinking about in your support process. What kind of information is useful for the support people that the salespeople can enter, and vice versa. So now I want to go here, because remember, it is a high priority ticket all of a sudden. How did I do that? If I go to direct assignment, you'll also notice that I didn't show it to you back there. It was assigned to someone. It was specifically assigned to someone because I have this rule called Vince tickets. In this rule, you can see that whenever a ticket from this email address comes in, assign it to our agent, Ivan Drago. He's going to be the person that's always going to be working with this person, with Vince. He's going to be their point of contact. That's also a big deal. When I call a company, like for example, the shirt company, we make a lot of shirts with them. Whenever I have a problem, they always have me call the same person. It's always the same person picking up the phone, and they have a history. They have context for who I am within their company. That's really valuable because I don't, with the cable company that I personally use, they don't really care who I am. I'm just another like $50 a month subscriber, whatever it is. They will just call me, transfer me a million times. They won't know who I am from person to person. It's a huge mess. So having this kind of thing is really useful. And if I want to go into reports now, so as a manager, this is where I'm going to be spending a good amount of my time, right? I'm going to be designing assignment rules that assign to certain agents, priority rules that give certain people a high priority as soon as they come in, including building SLAs for certain customers that spend a lot of money. But I'm also going to be looking at these reports to figure out what's going on with the business. So I'm actually going to switch this to last month. So now I'm looking at a report of the last 30 days of our business. This is the dashboard. We didn't have to build any of this. This was all built here. It's just reading ticket information and building all of these metrics for us. And if I zoom in a little bit, you can see this pretty cool chart. So new tickets is the green line. Pretty quiet here. We got a couple tickets. We handled a couple tickets this day. We handled some more this day. We handled a bunch this day. Got a couple more, right? So things are fairly quiet. There seems to be some correlation between getting tickets and closing tickets, sort of. Business seems okay. We could refine some things. Until we click this little button, this is the backlog. These are all the tickets we haven't answered. Every day, the backlog hasn't really gone down, except for recently, and it hasn't gone down enough. So these are the sorts of things you should probably be paying attention to in the report section, as well as things like traffic analysis. So part of what's so cool about Desk is it's taking in tickets from phones, right? It has telephony integration, so if people call you, it'll pop up right down here. But it also is taking the tickets from Twitter and the web. You can see this little symbol right here. It tells you where it's from, whether it's a web form, email, Twitter. If I go back here, you can see that this company is pretty popular to just be using web forms here. So social media is not a big part of our presence. Maybe we want to then work on that. This is something a manager would look at and decide. Report building is not that much fun unless you're one of two people. So we build a bunch of those for you. We know generally, we have a business ourselves. That's kind of the beauty of Zoho. It runs on Zoho software, all of it. And we know what kind of reports we need to improve. And so we know what metrics need to be tracked, and we build that stuff for you automatically. I didn't build any of this within Desk. All this stuff was automatically made. And you can scroll through these, or you can actually go up and you can build your own up here if you really want to. And I know some of you do. So one kind of cool one to look at is, let's see, customer happiness for agents. Here we have a quick little report here broken down by agent. So we have 2 agents currently that have had customer happiness ratings. No one else has. We have David Ingus and we have Ivan Drago. We can see that Ivan Drago, actually, people really like working with him. He has a very high success rating. David Ingus, a little bit less so. Guess who I am today? I'm David Ingus. I'm the manager. As Ivan Drago gets all these good ratings, you can tie all sorts of stuff to this within your office. You could also then follow up with bad ratings. So for example, if I click on that happiness meter, it'll show all the tickets he had good responses on. And this is just a little widget that's sent out once a ticket's closed, a little link where they can then rate the ticket, and you can customize the rating scale. And that's pretty cool. I can also then look at all the bad reviews I've gotten. I've got no bad reviews, but if I did get a bad review, I could then maybe go into the activities panel and create an assignment to discuss that ticket with that person, right? Because it's Ivan Drago that got a bad ticket and he's the manager, he's gonna let it slide. So that's Zoho Desk. That's a lot of what I wanted to show you. I do just want to, before we finish up here, I just have a minute or two. This is the crux of it, right? Minimizing friction, emphasizing self-service, knowing your customer, and having the right tools to improve are all super important and will improve your support significantly. You're all customers. We're all customers. It's important to know that support is something that I think we should prioritize significantly. Making money is good, but treating people nicely is even better.